Alright, so the wife wanted to start a garden, and so I started tilling up our lawn, and I rented a tiller very similar to this one from Grand Rental Station. I think it was 41 bucks out the door for 24 hours. And then I found this one online, and it was 200 bucks, and I talked a lady down to 160. I think that's pretty good. I have no idea what the age of this is. It says Craftsman Tiller. The model number, I don't know if I'm able to get zoomed in there or not. Oh, that's cool. Camera doesn't like that. I could just read the model number too, I suppose, if it's not gonna focus. Oh, it's there for a second. Come on. Well, the model number is 917.299753. The tiller itself seems like it's in pretty good shape. That's why I thought, well, I'll give it a go and see how this works. It's got a Briggs & Stratton engine, and then the model number, which this camera's not going to focus, is 135202. The type is 0237-01, and I don't know what the code is, but it does say made in USA, which is cool. Also, the tiller itself says made in USA, so that's good as well. It runs and everything. I don't know the last time the oil's been changed, so I'm going to do that today. I also going to change the spark plug and the air filter. I went to Fleet Farm last night, and I figured that they'd have these parts in stock, and they're actual factory replacement parts. So that's just the filter, and the filter number is 491588S. So I'll open that up and we'll take a look at that. So don't judge, because the shop is a disaster. But a quick tip here: when drinking your coffee outside and it's about 30 degrees in May, and I think it's before 7 o'clock even, use a piece of insulation here to keep your coffee from getting cold immediately. Good tune. So here's the old filter. It's pretty dusty. I'm assuming it's original. Here's the new filter, much cleaner. I'm assuming a filter deal like this. Oh, I don't have the manual on this, so I don't know what any of the like times are to change and stuff. But I would assume a filter like this on a garden tiller you'd want to change at least once a year. Does it look clean? Is it dust there? Yeah. Being that you're in the dust all the time, would assume that you'd want this somewhat clean here. I'm going to be changing oil a lot. There's no oil filter on this, obviously, because it's a small engine, and I'm assuming it's probably not a pressurized oil system either. It's probably just like a splash lubricant system. So, alright, so filter, I'm just going to set that in there, and that's that right there. Up and out. Alright, so the old spark plug is on the left here. Use some light. What do I do now? I'm going to drop this new one. This is a Champion. I'm assuming that's what it came with. But it won't focus, will it? But anyway, that's kind of what it looks like. It's got a larger, I don't know if that's the electrode in the center there. I should know that. But this one's much smaller, the electrode. I think this spark plug here, this Briggs & Stratton spark plug, was like $4, which is kind of ridiculous. But this is a Extra Life Platinum spark plug, and it's supposed to start quicker, which, I'll be honest, there wasn't any starting issues with this other spark plug. And I really don't know why I bought this. I was looking at all their different types of spark plugs. I was like, oh yeah, let's just go. So this is what it looks like. Part number on that is 796560. You can see it replaces the Champion I had, which is a J19LM. A genuine part. It's a gold platinum, longer life, easier starting. We'll see. Alright, I'm going to start this thing up. Hopefully it doesn't irritate the neighbors. I'm going to let this run to get that 30 weight warm to drain it. So for starting, because this took me a little while yesterday, because the one I rented had a choke that was back in here, and then the throttle was in here. So this one, the choke is here, so we're going to choke it, and then this is your throttle setting. So if you have this pulled all the way back, it won't start. So you're going to have that. I think it says in the directions that I read online, you're supposed to have it on fast, but I'm not doing it. I'm putting it on where it says idle. And then it says too, you should have this selector set to neutral. And you got reverse, forward, and then forward with till. I don't know how important all that is. It's not like it's going to go anywhere. So let's try it here. I'll set the camera down. That's what I'll do. Oh yeah, runs good. And like I said, I don't know how old the gas is. I'll probably need to run some of that old gas out and put new gas in. There it is, and all that run. Alright, so I've had this thing running a while. I don't know how long, but it's pretty hot. I'm using a 3/8 wrench. Okay. Suppose it needs to be tight so I'm gonna assume this is where the oil comes out too. This is your oil fill. This here looks like an oil plug, so that's what I'm going with. We're gonna assume I can get this here by, there it is. Like I said, I'm gonna assume that the oil probably has never been changed. Maybe it has, but I don't know. You always gotta assume that people are idiots. So, and oh, that oil looks extremely dirty. So it's supposed to be changed. I looked it up on the book. The first 2 hours you own the machine, you're supposed to change it. That's disgusting. That oil looks extremely dirty. So I'm going to get that, hopefully all that oil out. We'll open this up here to get a little air in the system. And there's also a fill plug like this on the other side of the engine. I would assume because the engine could be used for multiple applications. So, but I'm going to try to get as much of this crappy oil out. I'll probably tip the tiller forward. So, alright. So here we go. What I did was, got oil spilled all over the ground, yeah. So as it was draining, I dumped some 530 in there to hopefully try to flush out any dirt and contaminants that is in the oil. Here's the other oil plug. Right here, I cleaned it up. Or the other oil fill, I should say. There's one on each side of the... And like I said, that's probably got something to do with how the engine is configured, depending on the application. Here's the belt. The belt doesn't look terrible. I don't know if it's supposed to be that loose or not. I know once you engage the thing here, that tightens the belt. I don't know if that should be tighter or not. I guess you'll know once it starts, if it's slipping, you can get a tighter belt. I also put never sees on there and the wheel. I pulled the wheel off. That's like I gain access to this to pull this shield off. That was right here. The wheel's got a leak somewhere in it because I keep pumping up, it leaks. So I don't know. The valve stem on this wheel looks questionable. Or yeah, it's green around here, and I don't know, a little air in there yet. Actually, no. I think it is the valve stem because I just played with it and it doesn't close. So I may just take that in somewhere and have them shoot a new valve stem in and check it. I know when I pumped it up there was dirt puffing out alongside here too, which means if there's dirt on this bead, it's probably not making a good seal. But I'm not gonna screw with that myself because I don't have the tools to do a tire, and I don't envision that costing a lot. So the other tire holds here just fine, but I'm gonna pull that one off too because on this side here you'll see that this is pushed out. So I'm just gonna take a hammer and just pound that back in. They must have hit a rock or something, and it's pushed out against the tire here, and you can see it's been rubbing on the tire here, rubbing on this bolt here. This bolt is actually flattened out a little bit. So yeah, so I'll get some new oil in it here in a second. I want to get some of this cleaned up. I should, if I had a pressure washer, I'd probably pressure wash off all this dirt and oil, but I don't, so I'm not going to. These here, I'm assuming, are just like front weights. That's what they look like. Alright, so I took this tire and had Fleet Farm put a tube in it. They said that was probably the best thing to do because it was obviously not sealing on the bead here, so that's what they did. Hopefully they cleaned out the inside because you could hear dirt on the inside. So there's that. So I gotta put it back on. I got the oil all filled up and everything. I did buy some degreaser, so I may try degreasing this thing. I don't know if it's worth it or not. Alright, so I got tire back on the shield. I think that's pretty good. And I took this tire off on this side. I noticed that there's a nice plastic bushing here that I don't see on the other side, so I may look into that. But you can see here how this is all mushroomed out here, all bent out. So what I'm going to try to do here is find a spot to put the camera on. These 2x4s. This is a very low budget production here. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing or not. I'm going to take a 2x4 here and a mini sledge and see if we can get that bent back into place. I don't know if we're going to get that or not. If I had a longer 2x4 maybe. Let's try this. Wow. I wonder what they did. They hit a rock or something and jammed it in there. Boy, they must have really did a number on that, huh? Alright. Okay, so I ended up just taking the sledge and pounding right on there. So now I get enough clearance where you can see the bolts not hitting the tread of the tire, or the lug of the tire, I should say. So that's better. I'd like to do a test run with this thing, but I don't know, I'm in good clothes here. I'll see what I can do. I'll check oil and I'll keep you posted here. Okay, so what we're going to do here is till the garden area here and start it up again. Okay, so if you notice in the video, it was cycling pretty bad. So what I did was I ran it at full speed and made some adjustments on that screw right there. I don't know if that's a mixture screw. Yeah, I'm guessing it's got to be, because the governor kept kicking in and out. I could watch it on the carb. It's got to be a mixture. And it could be different now that the air filter's clean, and maybe the guy before couldn't get it to run, so he started turning on screws in the carburetor. I just basically turned it in, and I think I turned it out 1.5 turns or something like that. So I'll start it up here, and you can listen to it run. It purrs now. So that's at idle now. It doesn't cycle or surge. It runs much smoother. Oh, that's nice. I like the way that runs. Yeah, that's way better. One other thing I'm going to see if I can do, this thing is set really low, the handle is, like I'm basically bent over. This has got something to do with an adjustment, and I can see that this is slotted back here, so I'm going to see if I can move this up. I'm going to loosen these bolts, or maybe take these bolts out completely, loosen this, and maybe slide it up, and there's another set of holes for those bolts. I don't know, something's got to give here, because this thing is really set low. It must have been like somebody who was like 4'8" using this thing. So, alright. That's what it looks like. Alright, so I got the height adjustment. That's exactly what this knob here is for. The lever, I should say. If you can see now, I'm 6, what am I, 6'1", 6'2", and this is where I got it set high, like as high as it goes. This is much better than what it was, and I'll show you what I did here. Okay, so my assumption, the way this worked is, because these nuts are like lock nuts. They didn't have washers on. I took them off and put washers on because they were digging into this. There should have been a washer on here. And you can see this hole here is slotted. Dirt in a hole. This hole here is slotted. So my assumption, the way this is work, these shouldn't be completely tight. This is what would lock it into place. So you loosen this, pull down on it, and then you can adjust. I'm trying to get this. This can pivot down or pivot up depending on how tall you are. But I think what happened was this doesn't hold tight, so somebody just cranked this down. Because when I loosened this, I couldn't get this to move. I loosened this up, and this is really tight, and like I said, it was digging in. So I'm pretty sure there should have been washers on here. That would make more sense. Usually when you have a type of action where it's going like that, you're going to want a washer there so it's not rubbing or digging into that metal, and the washer would act as like a spacer. So what I did was I got it set all the way up, put this down, and I just cranked these two down. I'm like, I'm not going to adjust it down. No one else is going to use this tiller but me. So I think this thing is ready for action. I'm not a huge fan of Briggs and Stratton, but I am a huge fan of stuff made in America and stuff that's cheap, and I think this tiller is pretty cheap. The only other thing I would want to check is there's got to be some sort of lubricant or gear oil for the tines, I would assume, like a gearbox. And I'm sure there's some way of checking that, because that would be the last thing you'd want to run out of oil is for the tines. So I'll have to look up online and see if there is something. I'm sure there's like a fill plug that you probably just take out and then look in, and if the oil's in the threads, it's good. Usually you don't change that. So yeah, here it is. That's not a bad find. I got, I think, like 20 bucks in that tire for a tube, which I think they could have just reseated the tire without a tube, but whatever. So there it is.